Now we want to talk to you about Britain's nuclear test veterans. They're continuing their very long, often lonely fight, and they're expressing mounting frustration over Labour's delayed action on compensation. Just to remind you, back in the 1950s and 60s, servicemen and women were exposed to radiation during weapons testing programmes, resulting in many suffering from long-term health effects. Back in October, you, the GB News viewers and listeners, raised more than £50,000 to fund their reunion at Pontins for later this year. Our reporter, Jack Carson, has this report.
Foundations of a nuclear deterrent that came with a lifetime of sacrifice. In the 50s and 60s, nuclear tests at sites like Christmas Island in the Pacific and Maralinga in Australia saw 39,000 British and Commonwealth servicemen and scientists exposed to high levels of radiation. Documents at the time showed how these tests were not just about the weapons, but also the detailed effects of the explosives on men with and without various types of protection. In opposition in 2022, Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner and Defence Secretary John Healey said they were committed to helping the Veterans Campaign.
The veterans affected by this are not asking for a lot. They simply seek recognition for their suffering.
But the UK remains the only nuclear test country in which there is no scheme at all for compensation and recognition. Your campaign is our campaign.
Today, the Ministry of Defence says ministers have directed teams across the department and atomic weapons establishment to thoroughly examine what information exists regarding medical testing of nuclear test veterans. At Prime Minister's questions last week, the Deputy Prime Minister said it was a matter of priority.
And we're looking into unresolved questions regarding medical records, Mr Speaker, as a matter of priority.
Alan Owen from the campaign group Lab Rats International says the fight is with the heart of the government.
If you look at the other scandals, we had the infected blood scandal and post office scandals. It was easy to give it to somebody else like the post office and give it to Fujitsu, for instance. This is the Ministry of Defence. It's all right having a meeting at a Labour Party conference when you weren't in power. Now you're in power, you've got the power to do something about it.
For veterans like Dennis Hayden, who served at Maralinga, and Terry Hughes, who was witness to the H-bomb test at Christmas Island, there's a lack of accountability for the impact of the tests on them and their families.
I believe they're playing a bit of a game here to delay until, all of us have died, all the nuclear veterans.
My son is unable to have children. I'm convinced it's through the effects of the radiation because it's never happened before in the family.
Daughter of a nuclear test veteran, Susan Musselwhite, says she's angry at the lack of action from government.
Barefaced lied to us. They wanted us to help them to get into power. We've helped them get into power. Why can't they stand up and do the right thing and do what they said? Help us. Because the veterans are dying. They're dying on a daily basis.
There's enormous resilience in this campaign's fight for justice. For the government, pressure is mounting. Jack Carson, GB News.
Have you had a random call lately from a strange number, maybe trying to sell you something or even scam you? If so, your info could be out there. That's because of data brokers, shady companies that scrape the internet for your personal details and sell them to marketers or even scammers. These days, scammers can even use AI to mimic your friends' voices and trick you into sending money. It's not just annoying. Data brokers often target vulnerable people with high-interest loans or sketchy offers. But there is a solution. Incogni, the sponsor of this video. Incogni contacts data brokers on your behalf and requests your info be deleted from their databases. And because your data can keep popping up, Incogni keeps sending removal requests to make sure it stays gone. They've just launched a new unlimited plan with custom removals. If you find your info on a weird website, just send them the link and their privacy team will work to get it taken down. Getting started is easy. Hit the link in the description, create your account and let Incogni handle the rest. It's risk-free for 30 days and you'll get 60% off an annual plan with the code GBNews. Take back control of your data with Incogni.
Well, I'm delighted to say joining us in the studio is Alan Owen from Lab Rats International and nuclear veterans Brian Unthank and Malcolm Smith. Gentlemen, good morning to all of you. Lovely to see you again.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, we're thrilled to have you back. Watching that film, Brian, did it bring it all back?
Oh, Yeah. If I'm allowed to say, since 1952, every single Prime Minister has made us promise after promise after promise and totally blanked everything. I want Keir Starmer to stand up in front of us and say, sorry, boys, we, the government, have made a huge mess up. We need to get this sorted out. And I think we're going to do it quickly.
Now, before we bring Malcolm in, you were an RAF cook on Christmas Island.
I was.
The tests in the 50s. You were 18 years old. You saw 3 hydrogen bomb detonations at close range. No protective clothing. You shielded your eyes with your hands, for God's sake. That was all. Not even glasses. You've had serious health consequences. You've had more than 90 skin cancers removed. You lost all your teeth by the time you were 20. It was because of this, wasn't it?
Yes. Not only me, many of the other service personnel who were there doing the same thing also lost their teeth at a young age.
And your first wife suffered 13 late-term miscarriages.
Yes.
And lots of congenital heart defects in children in your family.
Yes. Yes. And they're still suffering because my youngest granddaughter now is getting crumbling teeth.
Is she really?
And one of our colleagues, Steve Peirce, his son, Sasha, has got crumbling teeth. A doctor from, I think it's Bulgaria, who was a dentist, and he was saying that he noticed the same thing for the children who were affected by the Chernobyl incident.
Right.
So you can't say that the radiation isn't causing it.
Malcolm, let's bring you into the conversation.
Right.
Can I be impertinent and ask how old you are?
83 now.
You're 83?
Yeah.
And what year were you there?
1960.
Right.
And that year, there was no bombs. We were all lucky that year, the people that was out there.
Right.
But they still had the radiation out there, obviously.
Right. Do you think the government is cynically waiting for people like you to pass away?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you really?
Definitely, yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
How's your health been?
Touch wood. Pretty good. Not too bad. I'm still working. I do 4 days a week.
Are you really?
Yeah. I deliver medication for our local chemist.
Do you really?
Yeah. Every morning, and
Well, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Alan, you're the face of this campaign. You got a pledge from the Prime Minister a year ago. He was leader of the opposition then, I think, that he would see you and the men. Since he's been number 10, what's happened?
I've written to him 3 times, and I've written to John Healey 3 times.
That's the Defence Secretary.
Defence Secretary, who you saw on that clip from Jack there. And we haven't even had a response. Nothing. Not even I'm really sorry, we'll pass this to the Veterans Minister. Absolutely nothing. And I meet with the Office for Veterans Affairs monthly. I meet with the civil servants, and that is on the agenda every month. These guys are 80 years old, and they are crowdfunding for a case against the government. They shouldn't be having to do this. They shouldn't have to have litigation against the government. This shouldn't be a fight. You saw John Healey there in 2022. There's no moral reason why we shouldn't be doing it. We're the only testing country that's not doing it.
How many are left?
We estimate between about 1,500 and 2,000 worldwide, because obviously they did go move around worldwide. But as their age, the average age is now 86.
Right.
We are losing them at an accelerated rate. The curve's not going, it's going this way, at an accelerated rate.
And you got involved because your own family was part of this?
Yeah, my father was Operation Dominic in 1962.
And how was his health because of it?
Unfortunately, he died when he was 52.
Did he really?
Yes.
Do you think it was related?
Absolutely, yeah. My brother died when he was 31 from the same condition.
Brian, how's your health today?
Not good. I've recently had 2 more skin procedures done. I'm waiting for another one that there's already registered. And I'm waiting to go into hospital for 2 other problems, which I'm not going to talk about on camera. But I'm not doing well with it.
Right.
Alan, it was me, you weren't there. We presented a letter to the Met Police at New Scotland Yard a month ago, and I've just noticed on a Facebook page They've just battered it aside. No charges to be answered.
They've given it to Thames Valley Police.
Right.
Because AWRE is in Thames Valley.
Right. Malcolm, this is 1960 for you. This has been going 65 years, this struggle.
I know.
What would you, if you were the Prime Minister's watching, he's got a lot on his plate at the moment, we know that.
Yeah.
But if you had a message to the Prime Minister and the Secretary of State for Defence and the Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, who said it was a pretty simple operation.
Like Alan and Brian said, get your finger out and get something done for us. We've got other people that help us, and we've got the Not Forgotten team.
They're a great charity.
Great team, yeah. I mean, I've been lucky. I went Buckingham Palace last year.
I was there.
And I was there this year.
I was there too.
Yeah.
I think
May
we
the 16th.
Yes.
I took my son last year.
Lovely.
I took my sister this year.
Right.
I'm hoping to go next year, take my daughter.
Well, that would be a lovely
Well,
thing.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
See how I go.
Yeah. Now, Alan, what are you going to do next?
Well, we need a meeting with Keir Starmer or John Healey. That's what we're asking for right now.
The Veterans Minister, who is a former military man.
Yes. In a year, we've had 2 meetings with Alcons for a sum total of an hour and a half. That's how much it is.
Did you take these fellows with you?
I took another different veterans.
Right.
But the thing is, when we meet with the OVA, we're meeting with the civil servants. They're at this level.
Yeah.
We need it at this level.
You do.
Sir Keir Starmer, John Healey have the power to do this right now. They could do it right now.
When we think of the veterans, we always think of men, but there are women involved in this too, aren't there?
There were 2 women involved in the service time, but you've got to think of these wives and widows that lost these men early on. My mother never recovered from losing her husband and her son within 18 months of each other.
Yeah.
She never recovered from that. When we do the reunion, which the GB News viewers paid for, which we've now got more coming this year than we ever had before, which is incredible, we have wives and widows come watching these men and seeing them men and thinking, why did my husband die so young? It affects everybody, the community and the children like myself and the grandchildren. It's being passed on.
Yeah.
And we had Luke Pollard,
the Defence Minister,
say on a Newsnight interview that the government knows the health consequences and we need to get the truth and justice. Well, if they know, let's do it. It's too slow for these guys.
Well, look, on GB News, we're with you guys, and we're going to support you guys, and we'll make some fuss, and we'll get some questions into Number 10. What's going to happen about it?
Brilliant.
And keep up the fight. It's a joy to see you again.
And I'd like to say a humongous thank you for working with us and allowing us to spread this news, because we don't have a lot of help, especially from the lot in Parliament.
Well, I've got to tell you, Brian and Malcolm, when we discussed this on the GB News about a year ago, there was an extraordinary reaction from our viewers and listeners. They were astonished, appalled and horrified, as we all are here at the station, about how badly you've been treated by governments of every political stripe.
And if people go to our website...
Yeah, tell us what it's called.
It's called labrats.international. You put /blood. You will all talk about the blood scandal, and they can help us on that webpage, which would be fantastic.
There we are. Brian's even got his badge. There it is. Can we focus on that? There it is. You've got your blood. You've got.
Yeah.
Here it is. It says on the badge. It's what does it say here? Nuke, blood scandal. Where am I holding it up to? Which camera? This one. That one. There, because you can just about see it. I think. There we are. There we are. You've got it there. There's the badge.
Yeah.
So just remind us again of the website, Alan.
It's labrats.international/blood.
OK. Now, don't listen to this bit, chaps, but I've got to read a statement from the Ministry of Defence who say, "We are deeply grateful to all those who participate in the UK nuclear testing programme and recognise their immense contribution to national security. Ministers have directed teams across the Ministry of Defence and the Atomic Weapons Establishment to thoroughly examine what information exists regarding medical testing of nuclear test veterans." And not a word about compensation. And why has it taken them 64 years?